Hey, let's make Jerry's the leprechaun sing us the song of the Emerald Isle. Oh, 'tis like the singing of the angels themselves.
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for whatever is in the title of this episode.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps.
Welcome to the Treehouse of Horror of Babylon, episode 18, where we discuss Hex in the City. I am Ryan. With me, as always, is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
Did Stephen King write this episode?
Yeah. Thank you to our patrons, including Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben the Fourth, Patron of Hope, and Mia the Fifth, the Rainmaker.
She makes it rain, yo.
And thank you to Sierra the Sixth, the Keyblade Patron. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, at the Mall of Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can shop online at fourhorsemen.tcgplayerpro.com. And if you make it into the store, say hello to the proprietor, Ronald III, Grampus of Christmas. He is the small one shouting gibberish on the floor, humping a gypsy lady. Trigger warning, ethnic stereotypes, fortune telling. Some people get really upset about fortune telling.
Really?
Yeah, they did a whole episode of Big Bang about it. Our history with tarot cards. I've never had my future read. Have you?
Yeah. About a month ago, one of my coworkers was doing tarot readings on one of my bosses.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did me. And my tarot reading basically said that I ruin all of my relationships because I'm so focused on my past relationships. And I felt personally attacked.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
So background, this episode originally aired November 6th, 2001. It's from Treehouse of Horror 12, which is season 13, episode 1, overall episode 270. It is the first of 3 segments. The second segment is House of Wax, which is a parody of Demon Seed. The guest stars Pierce Brosnan and the late Matthew Perry. And the third segment is Whiz Kids, which is a parody of Harry Potter. The episode was directed by Jim Reardon and written by Joel H. Cohen, both of which we have discussed on the show before. And this is the second appearance and the first Treehouse of Horror appearance of O'Reilly the Leprechaun, played by Dan Castellaneta, who also plays Homer. This is O'Reilly the Leprechaun's second of 16 appearances on the show. He has 11 appearances in canon episodes, 4 appearances in Treehouse of Horror, and 1 appearance in the Simpsons movie.
And that's that. Another story in the classic, infallible 3-act structure. Good enough for Aristotle, good enough for the Simpsons.
Mr. Sislak, I have a feeling there's going to be one more act to this story.
Well, I'm not hanging around for that. 4 acts.
Moving on to structure and themes, this episode has a very similar premise to a particular Stephen King, or should I say Richard Bachman novel. You want to discuss that?
Yeah, Thinner. It's about a gypsy curse.
It's hard to call it a parody.
Yeah.
But even though the Simpsons wiki does call it a parody of Thinner,
it's very similar. There's a lot of tangentially similar things, such as a fat man offending a gypsy.
Yeah, but in the novel, he's driving and his wife is giving him a blowjob.
I wish I would have seen that.
Yeah. And he accidentally runs over a gypsy.
Not in the mouth hole.
Or a Romani.
Yeah.
How would you imagine a legit Treehouse of Horror parody of Thinner? Like, actually doing it?
I picture it'd be pretty similar to this, only we'd have a lot of, it'd go one of two ways. Either the curse doesn't work because Homer just eats that much, or it'd be a lot of, like, skin flap jokes.
I can imagine, like, a Thinner episode where he counteracts the curse by just eating enough to keep his weight. That would, then the gypsy gets mad that she can't kill him.
Yeah.
The other thing that I had under structure and themes is just, like, kind of this episode aired in 2001, which was 23 years ago. Holy crap. It's just funny, like, how many jokes in this are, like, ethnically based. Both jokes about Irish people, jokes about gypsies / Romani, and then just, like, the general, like, ethnic jokes at the beginning. And it's just funny to me to see, like, how okay that was at the time. Like, you could see, like, these kinds of jokes maybe, like, in, like, streaming series, but not on, like, stuff that's actually aired on TV.
Yeah.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
So characters, I just have O'Reilly the Leprechaun. What did you think of the Leprechaun?
He was pretty great. As soon as he started talking about piss my pants.
Yeah.
Hey, that was pretty good.
I've been working on that for like 20-something.
I was going to ask you if you can do an impression of him.
Kiss me, I'm Irish.
You're like the most Irish guy I know.
Oh, stroke me, Clover.
The fact that the Leprechaun series hasn't used that line is a crime.
This episode may have been like one of my first experiences, like, seeing sex in media. Even though you don't actually see anything, just like...
It's heavily implied.
I just remember watching it and be like, what are they doing? Are they kissing?
My earliest one comes from a Friday the 13th film my dad should have rented for me.
What movies did your dad rent for you that were okay?
A bunch of cartoons. I liked cartoons.
Okay.
I'll kill you all! I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all! I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Scary Shit, what was the best joke?
I don't know, because the jokes kind of kept escalating, so I had to keep changing it.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, oh, that "Are you coming on to me" line was pretty good.
That was good.
And then Jesus being worth 6 leprechauns was pretty good.
But he's harder to catch.
Yeah. Yeah, but then the leprechaun just talked, and I was like losing my shit to that.
I think it ends pretty strong on the best thing about a gypsy wedding is I'm not the hairiest woman here. Yeah.
Which is also an ethnic joke.
If you can just count the leprechaun as a whole as a joke, I would say that.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick a single one, the Jesus being worth 6 leprechauns is probably the one that's like I remembered the most over the years, because this one I saw countless times as a kid, and this is one that we watched especially when we got the DVDs, like, again and again. Very iconic Treehouse of Horror from my past. I think the worst joke is the Katie Couric joke.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
She's short.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of...
Okay, now that makes sense because they were all short things in there. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. Like, I thought they were just pulling out mythical creatures. And I was like, what did Katie Couric do?
She's a small woman.
Okay, well, now I know.
Yeah.
I was going to say either that or some of the ones, like, front-loaded at the beginning. I think a lot of the...
Did get stronger as it went. I agree. To the point where I, like, got into the curse and, like, the actual premise of it.
Kiss me, fat boy!
Kiss Me, Fat Boy. Would you do Cookie Monster Marge?
I would do any version of Marge.
Yeah, any legal version of Marge I would do.
Okay, yeah, I should have meant my answer. I keep forgetting how many flashback episodes there are.
There are a lot of those.
Yeah.
There are absolutely a lot of those. And I need your expert sex opinion. Your sex opinion.
All right.
Are the leprechaun and the gypsy, like, into being watched? Does it turn them on to have sex in front of people, or are they just so passionate and crazy about each other that they can't wait till they're behind closed doors and they just don't give a fuck.
Based off of what I saw, just passion.
Yeah.
Usually, like, when you're into being watched, like, you make comments about being watched, or you, like, set up a camera, you look over at the people doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just really into each other.
Yeah. It was kind of heartwarming.
Oh my god, are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
Kings and Koontz. My king is the leprechaun. O'Reilly the leprechaun.
Oh god, since you picked the leprechaun, I'll go with Cookie Monster March.
You can say the leprechaun too if you want. Koontz.
My Koontz is pretty easy. I think that this episode tricks you into thinking it's going to be one of the worst, and then it ends up being one of the best.
Yeah.
I just think all the worst jokes are all right at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know if I could say that was intentional, but...
Yeah, but that's just like, I was sitting there going, oh god, it's going to be one of those, and then it was like, oh, this is one of the funniest ones.
Yeah, it's really funny. I'll just agree. I'll say the same. Okay, so rankings. This one's pretty high for me. It's up there with Easy Bake Coven and The Shinning as being one of the really super iconic ones from my childhood. Who do I have ranking it first? You're ranking it first.
I'm going to put it at number 3.
Wow. Hex in the City is your new number 3, above Not It and below Death Tome.
Yeah, that leprechaun talking just... it got me.
Yeah. I'm going to say it's my new number 2, below The Shinning and above Homerzilla.
Yeah.
For homework, how do you think the Gypsy's curse might have affected some of Homer's other loved ones?
Okay, so for Grandpa, it would make him younger so that he would be around longer so Homer couldn't get rid of him.
I would say that it would make Grandpa charismatic so people actually wanted to listen to his stories, but then he would get over his loneliness and realize he actually just fucking hates people and he wants to be left alone. These are just examples. You can say whoever.
I'll use the examples because I can't think of Simpsons characters right off the top of my head. Barney, it would make him allergic to alcohol because this was earlier before he got sober.
Yeah.
And Apu, it would make him leave the show because people were too sensitive.
Oh. So I recently started playing the Simpsons mobile game, The Simpsons Tapped Out, I think it's called. And I hate it. It's like a free-to-play game with microtransactions.
Ugh.
But, like, I like the dialogue in it because it has the actual voice actors and has specific dialogue written for the game. And Apu's in the game. Yeah, and it's continually updated. Like, it had a new update this week, and they still have Apu in it.
I might show up just for Apu.
Yeah. He's one of, like, the first 5 characters you unlock, too. You unlock Apu before you unlock Marge and Bart.
They know what their money makers are.
Yeah.
Really, it would be Apu, but don't tell them.
Yeah. I would say Flanders, because on the surface, Homer says he hates Flanders, but deep down, we know he really loves Flanders.
They're gay for each other.
Yeah. And the Gypsy's curse would reveal to Flanders that God is not real and prove it to him in some way. There is no God. Or that some other religion was true.
It would be a different version of Christianity, because I think that would make him more irritated. It'd be like Mormons.
That would make me irritated.
Yeah, it turns out the Mormons were right.
Damn it.
Sorry.
Okay. What 3 major established religions or religious sects would you least like to be proven correct?
I will get canceled for any of my answers, so I pass.
I will say Mormonism, Scientology.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Yeah, Scientology be up there. It's like Scientology, Islam, and Jehovah's Witnesses, maybe Mormons instead of Jehovah's Witnesses. If Mormons are right and you convert to Mormonism and you get to go to heaven, you become a sex god of your own universe.
Yeah.
And that sounds pretty cool.
Do women get to become sex gods, or do they just get to become part of a man's sex
They
cult?
get to become part of a harem.
Okay.
But I'm not a woman. I'm a selfish lover. Like, if that was proven right, I'm like, well, there's a good benefit there.
Hiya! Happy Easter!
I guess.
Jehovah Witnesses aren't so bad because they don't have a hell. God just erases you from existence at the end of time.
Yeah, there's no hell in Judaism. They don't get to eat pork.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Judaism is my third answer just because of the dietary restrictions, which I guess also includes Islam and also Hinduism. And I'm going to, okay, so for my third one, I'm going to say any religion that has a dietary restriction.
Yeah, anything that says no pork.
Yeah. For further reading, I just highlighted a couple of the other of my favorite episodes that feature the leprechaun. His first appearance was in season 9, episode 8, This Little Wiggy, which is a very famous or infamous episode where Bart and Ralph become friends. And probably, even if you don't watch The Simpsons, you've heard the Ralph quote or seen a clip of Ralph talking about the leprechaun that tells him to burn things. That was technically the first appearance of O'Reilly the leprechaun, but in my head canon, I count Hex in the City as the first appearance, because in This Little Wiggy, he looks the same, but he's dressed differently. But the big difference is he talks in full sentences. Like, he tells, oh, you know what to do now, boy. Burn them all. And then from this episode on, he always talks in gibberish anytime he appears.
Like an Irishman.
Yeah. And then the other one is season 20, episode 1, season premiere, A Sex, Pies, and Idiot Scrapes. The episode opens on a St. Patrick's Day parade. And it's a St. Patrick's Day parade. Everybody's drunk. Everybody's having a good time. And it just does one of the funniest goofs like I've ever seen. Like, I forget who says it. I think it's Marge. But she goes, oh no, it's the Protestant Irish St. Patrick's Day parade. And they look, and like at the cross street, there's another St. Patrick's Day parade, but they're all dressed in orange instead of green. And they just like start beating the shit out of each other.
Why are Protestants in orange?
That's their color in Ireland. That's why the Irish flag is green, white, and orange. Catholic, Protestant, and the white is the balance.
I learned something today.
But in it shows O'Reilly the leprechaun fighting another leprechaun who's all dressed in orange.
I like this because it means that leprechauns are canonical to the freaking Simpsons universe.
Yeah, I mean, lots of things are like vampires are canonical within like the actual canon episodes.
Yeah, because the Republican
Dracula's on the Republican committee.
Yeah, the Republican Dracula.
There's also
he's one of my favorite vampires.
There's a whole episode where they go on a expedition to find the Loch Ness Monster and do. Bigfoot is also a real thing. So there's lots of cool stuff. Upcoming on the Horror Babylon, our next book episode on April 21st, we are reading The Great God Pan by Arthur Machen. And then the next Sunday, we are reading a comic book adaptation of The Great God Pan, which is like, there are like no adaptations of that book. So
yeah, we could hop on that.
Yeah, let's make the movie.
Yeah.
You get Benedict Cumberbatch, I'll get the money.
I think we should cast Helen first. Oh, we could make him play Helen.
Sure. And then on Thursday, April 25th, we are doing our third and final interview with Hef. And then on the first Thursday in May, we're doing another May the 4th bonus episode where I found 2 Star Wars fan films that are horror films about stormtroopers and Ewoks. They're called Ewok Hunt and Sanctuary Moon. We are going to do watch-alongs, watching those 2 for our Star Wars bonus episode. And we're going to try to get Ron on that, but no promises. But what I can promise you is that I will be eternally thankful for our patrons, including Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben, the 4th Patron of Hope, and Mia the 5th, the Rainmaker.
She makes it rain.
Oh, she makes it rain. And thank you to Sierra the 6th, the Keyblade Patron. Whoosh, wah, whoosh. If you didn't know, those are like sword slashing.
Oh no, noise. I knew what you were doing.
Okay. And thank you to Horseman Comics and Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia. You can at the Mall Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can shop online at fourhorsemen.tcgplayerpro.com. And if you make it into the store, say hello to the proprietor, Ronald III, Grampus of Christmas. When he gets bored, he dresses up like a gypsy and he pays a short Irishman to hump him on the floor of his store.
That's the third hottest thing you've ever said to me.
What's the second?
I don't know.
Oh, I know what the first is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you go further?
We should do... That should be a Patreon stretch goal.
God, we haven't played that game in like 7 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll be as fun in the 30s as it was in the 20s.
Depends on how much money we get for it.
Okay. Well, thank you for watching Hex in the City and recording with me tonight.
It was a pretty good time.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know what?
It's a good one.
I enjoyed this episode.
It's fun. Now, thank you to our patrons. Stay tuned for our socials and stay scary.
Stay scary, everybody.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/thehorrorofbabylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.